for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Time to call your friends. Get ready for Forbidden History Live. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society, and nothing here is ever to be construed as hate, medical, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on therealpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way, somewhere out there, 7 days a week, around the world in eight seconds or less. The Forbidden History Live, what they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares, it's Forbidden History Live. Because somebody's got to do it, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why we're right here. Stand by for the broadcast. Time to call your friends. We'll be right back. You did call your friends, didn't you? Get on that phone right now. So glad you're tuned in here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we are going to have a revolution in thinking. We have to hear things we've never heard before and consider the things that we have never considered in order to see and read it for ourselves. And thank you, Take the Old Devil, 8,000, for your sharing on Facebook. I appreciate that very much. Hey Ninja, that way, and Yochelleg, of course, and all of you out there that are tuned in, listening around the world today, tomorrow, in the future, wherever you are. Welcome to Forbidden History Live. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. And I am your host, Dezert-Owl, a bird who sees in the night, and I see too much, and I'm looking for that proverbial red pill, but the emerging sea. We're caught under a flood, ladies and gentlemen. They declared an emerging sea back in 1933 in America. It's the flood that encroached upon the land and happened across all the nations of the world. The tsunami. The tsunami means everything got flooded, okay? Everything. And all we have left is to know the truth, because the truth can set us free. And yet at the same time, even when we know the truth, we still have a work to do. It's not just knowing the truth, it's also the work. It's a walk, it's a work, it's a wake, and it's a whack. You know, you get whacked right upside the head and say, whoa, I think, wait a minute, I got whacked up the other day, by the government, and that's usually what happens to somebody, and then they realize something's not right. Wait a minute, why did I get whacked up on the side of the head? So I better wake up and get on and go for the long walk. The long walk is out of this world, ladies and gentlemen. And how are you going to do it without proper knowledge and when you've been lied to all your life? How you gonna unravel the great mystery? It's not an easy thing to do. In fact, it's virtually impossible, because they are so perfect in what they have engineered. They have engineered our world. They have created the illusory state. You are a product of their grand delusion. Everything that we've been following all of our lives has been that delusion and that illusion. The deluge is the flood, and the illuge is what makes us sick every day. Like, when, Neo was, being talked to through his computer, and, it's, what you cannot, there's something wrong inside, deep inside. I don't have the quote in front of me, so I can hardly paraphrase it, but you know what I mean, that you knew something was wrong, and then you ended up here on the internet late at night and we're searching and looking for some answers, but the only problem is there's a lot of information out there, but how do you sift through it? What's true and what's not true, right? It's great there's information, but the disinformation is so great, it really overwhelms the true information. The disinformation is shouting, and then you've got to be able to sift through it. So there he is. Which one do you want? I was amazed by the fact that they had a different pill in each eyeglass. I was like, how did that happen? And but there you go, Morpheus. The god of dreams. And I guess we should include nightmares. And what are we going to do, Mr. Smith? Are we going to take the red pill, or are we going to take the blue pill and go back to sleep? Right. So we've got a trail to go down tonight, and we're going to cover the Indo-Germanic, Sumerian, Aryan mother tongue, and the Dictionary of Scriptures and Myths into Lamsa, and perhaps even that Talmud, that very stinky, greasy, slimy mud in your eye, that they've engineered our world, the world dominating Zion, not the Zevon, not the Zevon that we prefer, which is in the pure light, but the Zion, world domination, kick you in the teeth, throw you in the gutter, slime that came out of Babylon, which was by the ancient Zavran. Brahman is Zavran. And, these words, that's the thing. We're going to do some words as well, because this is how they control our thing. They put us under the spell by spelling, ladies and gentlemen, spelling words their way, not the way they should be. And so, if you think you can unravel the mystery on your own, have at it. Okay. It's been a lifetime for me. And I've got 40,000 3x5 cards with notes, quotes, and definitions, and pictures and graphs and symbols and everything else on them, and I'm probably never going to be able to publish it all, But I was learning to read, I was learning to read, because we don't know how to read, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, they controlled our thinking, they took over our world and enslaved us by the Eshavors, by the word. And then they want us to think that in the beginning was the word, and the word was God, and and wait a minute, was? I mean, no longer is? Not, you see? And so they've changed, they've altered. They put us on the sacred altar of alterations. We've been altered. That's really what it is. The religion, they control the religion. They put us on the altar. We're sacrificed on the altar of the alteration. It's an alternating current. It's going in the wrong direction. We got to go in the other direction to get back to the light. So it's I'm pretty sick of it. I don't know about you. I'm sick of other than the excitement of knowing that I have a secret that's been given to me by Yeshua in the original thought. I'm pretty sick of it. If all I could talk about was the darkness and continue talking about 5G and Y2K or Skull and Bones and and conspiracies and nothing, and never be able to give an answer to our dilemma, a hopeful solution to our problem, and then I would probably already get the rope. You know what I mean? It's like, if we don't have a solution, then we're in trouble. There's some people actually think that they can save the world, and they're still going at it, and they say that the Green Beret are coming with $32 billion of gold, this Nasari, I've been hearing about it for 30 years, literally. Okay, the what do they call that thing? Nisar, I think they call it Nisar, and that somehow they're going to bring back the original America or something. It never was original. It never was ours. The deception and the there was this double agent I thought was a patriot. And he always go, "Psst, Desert, come here. I got some intel for you. Got some intel. Let me tell it to you." Yeah, okay. What is it? Well, and then it was the next big lie. It was the next get your hopes up diversion and all. You know what I mean? It's just these people they've been working over. They get paid to do it. They actually get paid. I wish I could get paid. I can't get paid. I have to ask for support. And then and it rarely comes. Other than right now, I have some wonderful engineering going on with Ninja Cat 111 and Yochelleg and Yochelleg and Lynn Mitzi and and then you folks that come in all the time take the old devil. They keep me going. You get me a reason to justify being here one more time to say it like it is, because it's I mean, come on, I want to take the pill that I don't have to wake up anymore. You know what I mean? And but yet we've got to deal with it. We're here. We got to deal with it. And the only thing we've got left is to want to know the truth and to be set free from the delusion and the illusion, and then get on with our eternity, because we are eternal beings. We're going somewhere. Okay, so let's go there together if we can, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't want to just go to the grave and be dirtbags. That's not a good thing to do. And or to pretend that it's not real. Close your eyes. See, that's what sin really means. That sin is not like, when we say you sin, like you're really bad, you're bad. It's not. That's not what sin means. Sin means, excuse me, to have your eyes closed. You're not a bad individual because you've got your eyes closed. You're just blind. That's what Yeshua was trying to point out to us. You are blind. You cannot see. Don't you know? I mean, what does it mean when you're walking around with your eyes closed? It means you must be dead. You see? You must be dead. And therefore we need to wake up. Thank you, Ninja, for those wonderful words. And so I'm still working on myself. All right. It's not like this is some cakewalk or something. It's a great work. I know that my Redeemer, he lives, and he is active right here, right now in my world, in my universe, and he's active in yours, whether you know it or not. But if you're dead and you're not pursuing him, then I guess you're just in the outer darkness, where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. And that's a sad place to be. I'm at least in the avenue of hope and covenant relationship with Yeshua. He's not finished with me yet. I'm due for a transformation and a fulfillment within my spiritual walk. he gave us the example of 40 years in the wilderness because it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to overcome the world. And so just, keep searching those scriptures every day. And it's going, take the old devil says, yes, thank you, Desert. Yes, it's ongoing work on yourself. Yeah, so thank you, Take. And, so we're hoping that we can read, my fulfillment is thinking, after all my personal study and searching and still working on myself, is that I can at the same time share a little bit of what I've learned. That maybe something that I can share will provide an avenue for somebody that they realize, wait a minute, okay, I didn't know this stuff. Wait a minute, and let me. So, and then you realize, okay, there's more to this picture, and like the thing about creation and how we got here, who we are, why we are, when we are, where we are. It is possible to know with definiteness of these aspects, of our nature. We have to know the nature of things. And the program earlier today with Ninja Cat 111, it was like I'm trying to grab my thoughts right now on our conversation, but it was this thing about being stupid and being naive, this with not knowing anything. It's such a okay, because I remember when I was talking about how when I was like 16 years old and I was reading the scriptures for the first time, even though the Father called me from my mother's womb, and I saw pink light and I was sucking my thumb in my mother's womb, and had my own first experience of consciousness, by sucking my thumb. That's why babies suck their thumb, because they're conscious of their self. Saying, wait a minute, this is me. Boom. Let me try that. Yeah, that's me. I'm sucking my thumb. I'm something. I don't know what I am yet, but I'm coming out pretty soon, I think. I'm having a crossing the event horizon into another world, and boy, I hope it's a good deal. I hope I don't, it's not a loser. But then you pop out and boom, you're here. And so I remember, being 16 when I first read the scriptures, and I read the story about Yeshua, read one of the Gospels, and I couldn't get over it when I got to the end of the story, even though I knew the story, but I never read the scripture. I grew up a Catholic, for the first half of my life at that time. So, until I was about 9 years old, then I fortunately went to public school. Thank you so much, Great Father, for getting out of that Catholic school, and where I was terrorized for all that time. And then, so then I read the scriptures, and I cry when I get to the part where they put him on the cross. I literally remember crying at age 16. And so I had my own little conversion right there. And but yet I was so naive because I didn't know anything that, and my buddies and I, we all like to, smoke the wonderful varieties of marijuana that we had back then, and hashish and other stuff. But, mainly it was pot. And in my stupidity, I actually, and I don't remember if a friend told me or where I got this from actually, but, and I said, yeah, I think, I would pass it on, like you hear it and then you think it's true. Yeah, even Jesus smoked pot. He had a pipe and he had a little bag, and and he just pulled it out whenever he needed to toke up, and then it's like, okay, and I kept reading the scriptures and I couldn't find it anywhere. It's like, okay, well, maybe he didn't have a pipe, maybe maybe he didn't, and so then finally I realized, okay, I got to give up smoking too. It was okay while I was there, and even when I smoked, Yeshua was engaged in my life. He loved me to the point where even when I was stupid and imperfect and all these things, he communicated to me. I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak about my experience. I know he pulled me from my mother's womb as a conscious entity that, and by the way, when you're born, you're already 1 year old. Okay. That's how the ancients counted time. You were already 1 year old when you were born. And that's how they switch things out. One example. And, and then they want to talk about having abortions and everything. They're killing life. they're killing life. I was already, seeing pink light and sucking my thumb, wondering what in the world am I doing here? And then someone's going to come along and slit my throat, and that's what they do, of course, in abortion clinics. And so it's a rotten, stinking world. Imagine killing the innocents. How wicked can you get? Intelligent life. So I was stupid, and thanks to my parents, I gotta congratulate them for doing such a great job of being self-interested in their own private affairs and alcohol and the things that motivated them. But of course, it really wasn't their fault. They were the product of our modern time. They were just perfect slaves. That's all. They were just doing what they were programmed to do. So I can't hate them. I can't throw stones at them. And I'm just very fortunate in my walk. I could see in my own self that something was going on, and I was breaking the mold. I'm saying, okay, I'm not hanging around New Jersey for the rest of my life. I'm leaving, and I was out of there at age 17. So immediately, as soon as I could do it, I got out of there and I hitchhiked across America. I studied first how to live off the land, and read books and got a backpack and a pair of good Herman hiking boots and everything I needed. A good buck knife for cutting my food out there in the wilderness, and so I was good to go, and I never looked back, and ended up in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and in Tijeras on the eastern side of the mountain, and then ended up in Farmington, New Mexico, then Colorado, right in the shadow of Archuleta Mountain, where they talk about now there's an underground base of UFOs there, and I actually camped on top of it and never saw any unidentified craft at the time. But boy, what a place! I lived on the Archuleta Ranch, and one of the oldest ranches in America from the 1600s, and right in Archuleta County, south of Pagosa Springs. And and little did I know there was an underground base there, and that explains part of my story, because I know I was affected by the people that were involved in that project directly with Senator Ewing. Actually, his daughter was my girlfriend at the time, and that's a story for another day. But I got out with being shot by a 30-30 rifle and stabbed 5 times, and when I was saving my girlfriend from the water commissioner raping and systematically raping her, and turns out he was working for the underground base. That's why he thought he could get away with murder, bottom line. So that's the short story. And but I survived those things, and I kept learning in my progress. Hitchhiked back to New Jersey with all my wounds at that point, and but then went back out west again, because that's where I was destined to go. Just spend a summer back in New Jersey just one more time, and then saw one more time how dead my family was. So, okay, I'm out of here. Not coming back this time, and boom. So I guess I get long-winded tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't know how how to share the information sometimes. I'm reading books and turning the pages for you, and we're all in the same dilemma. We all where it says in the scriptures to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So we all do care about our own existence. We care about our own spirit, and we take care of it every day somehow. We feed it. We do stuff that's entertaining, and yet we get stuck in ruts, and we get trapped in situations, and they're not pleasant, and we wonder, how did we get here? So there is an experience to be obtained through the true spirituality, and this experience is true freedom. It's total freedom. It's being unaffected by the world. Whatever they want to do, let them do it, okay? Because I'm in a different world, in a different universe, and that's my pursuit is that other world, and so it starts with knowledge, because you can't go there being stupid and ignorant. It starts with knowledge. You have to put on turn on the light. turn on the light. And the light is always shining. You really don't have to turn it on. The light is good to go. I guess the better way to say it would be you have to turn towards the light, turn away from the darkness, turn towards the light, and realize how powerful it really is, how infinite, how great. And the sun is the great logo. You know, what preacher ever told you that? Nowhere. I'm not a preacher, okay? I wouldn't want to be one. I'm really a transliterator of ancient scripture, and a symbologist, and a mythologist, and an etymologist, and a linguist, and a few other things. I can't even think of the words right now. You know, because I had to cover so much ground in my walk in order to unravel the mystery, because nobody was helping me. You know, I had nobody to talk to other than Yeshua himself. Nobody, you know, there was nobody going to help me. Nobody. And I had to get on my knees. I had to fast. I had to pray. I had to ask for help. And he responded, you know, and I've been set up by the government and put into detention, and with the threat of my entire life and future being taken away from me. I've been delivered from it all. You know, so I could be here right now and share with you the infinite power that our Redeemer has, that he is here every moment. He's never not here. As powerful as the sun shines and never stops shining, he is here right now, always for you. It says, in fact, his quality and capability is so great that he knows exactly how many hairs are on your head. You know, what kind of a deal is that? Talk about Superman, huh? You know, I mean, he is so beyond our ability to comprehend that the only thing we have left we can do is to accept it. You know, to accept his greatness, and to realize that I don't know, you know, we have to see, I guess, in order to see his greatness, we have to somehow see our own limitations, our own inferiority, to see that we are really nothing. You know, if we were to compare ourselves with him, then I guess it would be like, you know, if we compared ourselves with an amoeba, you know, the one cell creature, we're like the amoeba. And, if we're to compare ourselves with an amoeba, then it's like comparing ourselves with him. You know, the infinity of this cosmic dream that we're a part of, you know, this drama that we have found ourselves in. Nobody asked me to be here. I ended up here. I woke up one day and boom, bada bing, bada bang. I've got to deal with it now, you know? And so I hope, you know, because most everybody out there I know is suffering one way or another, and they, you know, they're just survivors. They're just hanging in there. Some of them on the thread of a needle, and they, they love life, and they love their spirit, and they want to, achieve the fulfillment of life. But you know, the scripture says that very many people are seeking to enter in, but very few are going to be saved. How are you going to overcome the great odyssey that is planet Earth, ladies and gentlemen, when they've engineered everything to go against you, and they're poisoning you right now with your food, with your air, with your water, with your programming. The programming is on, and it's good for them, because the people in general will die to support the beast. How dare you go against the beast? How dare you talk about the government? How dare you talk about the preacher? How dare you talk about the King James Version? You know, I mean, they'll die to support the lie when you have woke up to the truth, and they'll come. They'll bring nails and a cross, and they'll be happy to crucify you. You know, and I always found that amazing. You know, the religious, the religious front. You know, and how and that's why, of course, they had to remove the scriptures from everybody in the beginning, because all they had to do was read the scriptures, and oh, wait a minute, you want to torture people, burn people at the stake? I don't remember reading that in my scriptures. When did Yeshua ever do that? But they took the man of peace and they turned him into a military front, you know, a warfaring military front. The Prince of Peace became a military front, you know, ready to kill you and to destroy any man, woman, or child that got in the way, you know? And so, yeah, so it's an amazing world, Mr. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I hope you're dealing with it okay, because there is no Green Berets or any cavalry or anybody else going to come and save you, okay? It's not going to happen. Let me take a break. Hang on. You're going to have to unravel the great mystery by reading, by praying, by meditating, by shutting off the TV, by tuning in right here to the Forbidden History, because that's the only way you're going to get it, okay? Because the lies are so great. I've been searching all my life, and there's nobody out there that's talking about what I'm talking about. I can't fathom that. I mean, the Father revealed to me the truth about certain things, and it was about the priesthood and their absolute control of our, and they knew they had to do it through religion, you see, so that's how they did it, through religion. So what version do you want? Baskin Robbins, the store is open, 600 different flavors. Choose the one you like. But the one thing they all have in common is they got a bunch of lies associated with them. And the truth is not a part of any lie. Okay? The truth is not a part of any lie, ladies and gentlemen. So you've got to discover the lies, throw them off the table, and what you got left is the truth. And so that's the way to approach this, okay? So glad you're tuned in. I see we've just got our six-pack tonight again. I'm always overwhelmed that there's like 7 billion people in the world, and we've got 6 always hanging out with us, and if it weren't, if I at least have 6, I'll hang in there, okay? I'm 3 or 4, I'm beginning to think, okay, maybe I just should get that rope, because nobody gives a damn anyway. That's really what it comes down to. Forgive the French, but that's my old cliche, Okay, so and we'll have I wish I had some gifts I could give out to make this program a little more interesting. But anyway, we'll have a Q&A, and I'll work on getting the gifts. I think I can get a few books wholesale from artists and publishers. They're my old friends, and maybe I'll give away a premium, to make our programming interesting. We could have a revolution in thinking. It could happen, but anyway, I have a question. I have, the Bible trivia, where trivia is not so trivial, and it's like a quiz just on to see how much you really know and to get you thinking a little bit, and have fun at the same time. So I have a question, and anybody's got the answer, you can type it in there. I'll put my name in all capital letters, so I don't miss it. Maybe you put your whole answer in capital letters, that way I won't miss it. But the question is, what was Noah's first act after leaving the ark? Okay, what was the first thing Noah did after he left the ark? So if you get the answer, then type it in there, and then you'll get a free trip to Puerto Rico. How about that? Would you like? No, you wouldn't want that. Okay, Puerto Rico's not doing too good these days. How about? Well, we'll just credit you for figuring it out. That's all we can do, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, but we'll work on some interesting things down the road here. Okay, I'll do my best to make this an interesting program. There's got to be a way, Shelley, to bring him in. Got to be. And so I'll keep working on it. And so anyway, what planet are we on? Okay, do you think women are really from Venus and men are from Mars? I think they're all from planet Earth, actually. That's my view. Could be wrong, but anyway. Take's not good at this, okay? So that's okay, Take. Just enjoy the ride, but you keep tuning in, and something will start clicking with you. And and don't forget, Farrar Fenton is the most important translation of our scriptures from 1905. Go to artisanpublishers.com and get the most important. Don't get the occultic version. The King James mind control occultic version with like 100,000 outright errors, and of course the words are all wrong anyway. So forget the mistranslations. All the words are wrong. What are we going to do, ladies and gentlemen? What are we going to do? Huh? we're going to learn about the Aryan origin of the alphabet. That's what we're going to do. And so let me open the book here. And this book is by L. Austin Waddle. I don't want to comment on that. And names are funny, aren't they, ladies and gentlemen? I'll tell you. And mine's really funny. I mean, everybody, they can't figure out this guy, Dezert-Owl. What in the world? And then, the classic I've gotten all these years. Then they get the nerve up and say, so what is your real name? And they all want to know. Like, are you telling me I'm not real? Nobody can name, huh? Yeah. Okay. So I had to read for you something in here that was really telling. Now let me see. I've been hanging on to this book for days. Now let's see if I can find what I wanted to share. Okay, here we go. So in this, I'm in the. Well, I've been reading through this book, and I wanted to go specifically to this particular section on page 34 in the Aryan origin of the alphabet, because it show. In other words, I discovered something first. Now I'm finding the confirmation in the dictionary, which is rather interesting, and the commentary here. Like when it said that Zavramhaim, Abraham, falsely called Abraham, correctly Zavramhaim, that's where we get the word sovereign, because he was the head of a tribe. You see, that's why he's called Zavramhaim. It means the star ram. Avram is star ram. And it's Zavramhaim, the plural, meaning the star ram of the many, and the breath of the many is what it also means. And so he went from up into, it said Haran. But then when I read a book here or a book here, just like one or two, and then I found out in there they were spelling the word Quran with a C in front of it. It's like, wait a minute. Quran, wait a minute. That I know what that means. That means rays of light. So when Zavramhaim, Abraham left of the Chaldees, which is earth and time. See, it's a metaphor. He left earth and time, and then he went in 1,000 miles northwest into not Haran, but Quran. Quran means into the rays of light. He went back into the rays of light is the metaphor. He left earth and he left time. This is what we've got to do, you see? This is what I've been talking about since the beginning of the program. We got to leave earth and time and go back to the rays of light in the Quran. You see? When Moses came off the mountain with the Ten Commandments, it said that he had Quran projecting from his face, from his head. In other words, imagine that his head is a star. That's called your soul. That's the solar. That's the sun. The rays of light projecting from his energy source, which is his mind. And he went to Quran. He went back to the sun. And then from there, he went into the promised land. You see? And nobody tells you this stuff anywhere, do they? You only get it here. Okay? And so here, now I'm reading the dictionary and the introduction, and it says now, the old tribal name of the Goths spelt by the Sumerians and the Hittites as Kate, or the Kadti, or the Kati. There's the cat ninja, the Kati, C-A-T-T-I, of the pre-Roman Britain coins. It was on there as well. And they also spelled Kud-Tai, or Gute, because of the dropping of out of the initial K, the Hatti, from the Kati to the Hatti. And then we got the Hittite, you see? So they even switched it out. So the Hittites are really the Katites. There's just like the Catholic then, There's a parallel now. I'm seeing it for the first time. This is why we got to keep reading this stuff over. And the Hatti, the source of the modern name of Hittite. Interesting that Hittite has 3 T's in it. And the Hittite was married to Bathsheba, and David, had adultery with her. Then he sends the Hittite onto the wall of Jerusalem to be slaughtered. All of these things are telling a subliminal story here. If you can't interpret it, you better get reading, okay, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a story behind the story on all this stuff. And by the further dropping out of the H, then a change also occasionally occurred in Sumerian, Egyptian. So this guy's on the trail. He gets it. He knows he doesn't probably see it from a conspiratorial standpoint. I do, but he figured out the problem. He realized that there were what is it called? What I've been talking about every time on the program, abbreviations. They're abbreviating the words because they're trying to cover the trail back and they don't want us to be set free. And a change also occasionally occurred in Sumerian and Egyptian and modern Aryan dialects, e.g. the Cockneyisms. Okay, Cockney, I guess, is in England. I'm not familiar with that one. The Cockneyisms, or maybe that means slang, and it became Ati or At. Boy, that talk about an abbreviation. ATT from Hittite, from Kattite on the ancient Britain coins. Whoa, okay. Now this is what I was leading up to. So this dropping of the initial K, where I said Quran, he went to Haran, but it was really Quran with the C. Well, there is no C. The C is a corruption, and it's really the K. Okay, the K is the correct sound for what we got in the C. But look at the C has an S sound, has a G sound, has a K sound. What's going on? When only one letter was supposed to have one sound, right? So it was really not Quran with the C, but he went to Quran with a K, Kharon, something like that. Quran, and it's the projections of light, and it says that the dropping of the initial K in the KH was so common, not only in later Sumerian and Babylonian, but in Egyptian, that most Assyriologists and Egyptologists write most of these KH initial letters habitually simply with an H. They don't even, in other words, to me, what it means is they're not really scholars. They're not really linguists, or else they're being paid their tenure. The tenure that says you do what we tell you to do, or you're not going to get your tenure. You're not going to get your paycheck and you're out of here. Okay, so yes, sir. Yes, boss. Yeah, whatever you say, boss. Okay, so, and I wish I could get a paycheck and I can't, Thus the great Babylonian king, here we go. This was beautiful because I never saw this one before. The king Kamu Rabbi of the famous Hittite or Gothic law code, not borrowed by Moses because he received it directly from the light. That's a misconception. Is regularly called Hammurabi. So here we now have the correct spelling of Hammurabi. There's also a K in front of the H. And it's not Hammurabi, it's Kamu. It's Kamu. Now there I see the chimera that we find in Revelations, 13:4? The beast, when it refers to the beast, that's the chimera. You can go see it on therealpublicradio.net. Go to therealpublicradio.net, then look for museum. And when you get to museum, look for chimera. I spell it Chimaera. There's the word rabbi. There's where the rabbi came from, out of Babylon. Because rabbi in the correct form would be Ravay, Rave, which would be correctly the royal eye of the star, or the royal star eye. So when they went up to Yeshua and they said rabbi, what they really said was royal star. They were calling him a royal star. What else could he be but a royal star? Right? Think about it. And so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This book is suppressed. This was one of the last dictionaries that I got, and also the backup companion that he did prior to this particular book was the Sumer Aryan Dictionary by L. Austin Waddell, and we never hear about it, because they don't want you to know. This is relevant truth. This is why they've now are big on the bandwagon of taking the Sumerian culture and all the tablets that they discovered with the cuneiform, as well as other original Aramaic script, and they're trying to say that the Anunnaki are coming back, and the Anunnaki are from Nibiru, and and they're following this dead star. How can a planet have life on it when it's got a dead star? Coming in every, you know what I'm saying? So, the charade is so fantastic, and because, as we earlier today on Ninja's program, pointed out that the whole intent with education was to keep us as stupid as possible. We could never figure it out. We don't have the capability of figuring it out, And that's the great dilemma and irony that we find ourselves in. But the good news is Yeshua is a revealer. And so he inspired me to leave New Jersey as soon as possible and to get on with my true enlightenment, not education, which means to remove everything from your brain, but which is what editing means, to remove this, remove that, but instead to get on with enlightenment. And what's ironic about my situation is I had nothing in me. I feel like still the most unqualified of anybody on earth to be talking about this stuff, with having had to overcome so much within my my life because of what my artificial, I'll call them artificial parents. That's the first time I've ever said that, but they were my artificial parents. They weren't my real mother father, because my real mother father are one, and it is Yahweh. Yahweh means mother father. You see, it's a duality of Yah, H, YH, and then VH. There's Y symbol, the sun, the father, and the moon, the lunar, and the male, female, and then the H is the bridge, it's the breath, it's the earth, and so it's mother-father association, because the mother and father are one. That's why men and you can't have babies unless a man and woman come together, right? You can't do it by yourself. You have to have somebody, male, female, and then you can create life. So it's about going back, right? In other words, the man and woman make the connection. They go back. It's like, in the act of love making, and they're in the embrace, right? The embrace, the tight embrace. It's like trying to mix with each other, right? It's like trying to mold back into one, but you can't do it, right? You try, but then, you got to break apart again. And so these are the metaphors and symbols of our nature, that we're dealing with. And it's a great mystery, but I'm glad you tuned in right here to the Forbidden History. I, wish somebody would go call a friend, because we still got that proverbial six-pack. Well, it's Friday night. I guess they're going bowling or something, right? Or something important. And maybe the movies, to get more programming going for them. Could be something like that. But okay, so Shelley, let's take a break. I think I've done enough damage for the first portion of this program, and deprogram, excuse me. And I'll be back in 5 minutes. And I'm very grateful for all of you out there. I have not had time really to read all the stuff you're saying there, but you got me motivated, all right? And you don't know how. I have not wanted to be here for the longest time, and now I don't have those thoughts anymore. I'm very happy to serve all of you with what is so important for me, and I didn't think anybody was ever going to care, but I found out that's not quite true. It just took a while under this great sea that we're all buried under. Let's come up to the surface and breathe for the first time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dezert-Owl. Glad you're tuned in, and go call your friends right now. Okay, well, let's have a revolution in thinking. It's what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Be back in a flash. Maybe. while, and we're the deprogramming program. So get with the deprogram, not with the program, but the deprogram, because we've got to do that. And yeah, somebody's got to do it. And I'm just a glutton for punishment that have volunteered for the program, the deprogram. Excuse me. Yep. So yeah, and it's a long journey, ladies and gentlemen. At least it seems that way. But when you compare it to eternity, what is long? You know, I mean, geez, that's the way I looked at when they were railroading me. I said, okay, Father, you know, what's life without mercy when we're talking about eternity? It's a blink of an eye. You know, it's a drop in a bucket. It's a grain of sand in infinite shores. You know, and give me an audio check, somebody out there, because I got confused with all the engineering on my end here, and I pulled the plug. I turned on the regular audios, went to the kitchen, and you know, and so I'm hoping that I'm broadcasting okay, and that somebody out there can hear me, and I did all my in your earing right. Okay, so that's not my forte, of course. Thank you very much, Ninja. Okay, so we're sound DSD. What does SD stand for? Okay. Well, she's going somewhere. All right. So I'm in the book on the Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths, and we're gonna just continue on here, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we can do, you know. And take the old devil. The sound is good here. Thank you so much, Teresa out there in. She's north of me. I think she's up in Michigan or somewhere in that area, near Detroit or something like that. Is that right? Take. And ever down this way, we can do Chinese food here in Millersburg, Ohio. You know, where they want to crucify me between Jackass and Boaz. You know, on their sacred altar of Freemasonry. And yeah, well, they're going to have to deal with Yeshua on those issues, and that's their problem, not mine. I don't hate anybody, and you know, and these people, I do get a little sick at times, you know, having to Minneapolis, Minnesota, the coldest state practically in America, next to Rapid City, South Dakota. Okay, very good, and we're glad it's getting near summer, isn't it? Pretty cold down here. I can't get over it. It was like freezing last night here in you know, practically in the longest day of the year, and the end of June, mid June, and literally it was in the 40s, mid 40s last night, and had to use my sleeping bag and everything else on top of me just to, you know. So they're obviously, since they figured out how to bring up all that Gulf moisture, just like tonight, just before the sun went down, I couldn't get over all the geoengineering going on, the chemical spraying, you know, and they're throwing in that ice nucleation, you know, for a little bit of nucleating of our atmosphere. I can't get over it. And you can feel it, you know, you can feel it. Every day the skies are cloudy, you know, there's never a clear blue sky like it used to be. And yeah, okay, so it's raining there right now, huh, Teresa? Okay, so, okay, look out for that hail. So we're in the book on the Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths by Gaskell, and heart. Okay, so heart is a, I have this highlighted for an important definition. Boy, there's even heaven comes after that. How about that? And in the middle between heart and heaven is heat and cold. How about that? Well, let's go for heart. Okay, so let's start with that. So a symbol of the casual body as a center of being on the higher mental plane and the receptacle of Atma Buddhe. Oh, the Buddhe. Okay, we just lost all the Christians now. And the spirit within. The Buddhe, actually, you see the B's are corruptions, and the U is a corruption. The D's are a corruption, and you know, and the I is a corruption. So basically, we have to re-engineer this word, and it becomes VOO TTHI, Vuthe. But it really what it means is the flower of the sun. You know, it's talking about the shining light, those Quran again, the Quran of the light coming down, the unfolding of this illumination, the enlightenment, you know, not education, but the enlightenment. That's the Atma Buddhe, the spirit there, and then it caps it off with spirit within, okay? So that's really what's happening, right? It's the spirit within. Because we also have within us the software mechanism to embrace the truth. You may have to get on your knees a little bit. You may have to give up a meal or two, do a little fasting, or you may have to stop bowling. You may have to do certain things to transform your being, and then actually, you can identify with that spirit within and have a revolution in your own thinking, and maybe even transcend this world. It could happen. The heart also signifies the love principle and the higher affections. Okay? The higher affections. The heart, the heavenly city of Brahman. Well, that's the Zavram. That Brahman is sovereign. Zavram. The Zavram, the star ram. The power of the star ram. The power of the star ram is what that means, Zavram. Being incorrectly Brahman. That's the trickery again. The heart of the heavenly city, the city of the sun is the heavenly city. The heart, the center, of course, it's at the center, is it not? Everything's going around the sun. At the heart, the city of the sun, of the Zavran. The Zavran is Yeshua, and we can be sovereign with the sovereign. That's from the Mudaka Upanishad, okay? Well, these Vakers, the watchers that fell, had the truth. They knew the truth. They were with Enoch and Adam, and knew the whole score, and they betrayed their birthrights and became scum of the earth. That's quite a deal, to go from the highest plateau to the lowest scum of the earth. Quote, God who is concealed within the heart, that's Yochelleg, O Eshan, man, meditate on the royal title under the guru's instruction. The guru would only have to be Yeshua. There is no other guru. And thou shalt be happy in the temple of your heart. There's the temple. We have a temple in our mind also. And that's from the Sikh religion. So the Sikhs are, out of India as well. And they very often like to wear the turban. And they're of a very, honest origin. I wouldn't talk about the priesthood, but I mean the people, the philosophy is very genuine, and that's typical what we would find with most traditions, even though they have been corrupted by the priesthood behind the scene. The elements of darkness, because that's the way the game is played. The people fall victim to it. That's the problem, you see. Okay, so Sakalya said, and in what does the true abode? In what? In what does the true abode? Oh, abide. I'm sorry. What does the true abide? And Yagnavaleska said, in the heart. For with the heart do we know what is true. We feel, right? Well, the heart is the center, right? That's, in other words, where do we find the word in the middle? The ear. The ear. And in fact, also the heart is the hearth, the place of the fire, what burns within us. And the heart, indeed, the true abides. That's a capital T. That's also from the Upanishad. So there's truth there. We have three centers. We have the mind, we have the heart, and then we have the androgynous zone, right at the center of our tree. There's the center of the garden, the tree, and the fruit at the center of the garden, and it is the thing that drives us. The lowest. Notice that it's the lowest, so therefore it has quite a pull on us for the flesh, and then the mind, but the mind, like people get headstrong, they think they're pretty sharp, because they know something and they're better than everybody else. But then at the between the mind and the lower chakra, then we have the heart. And so if we can get centered, then we're with the heart. We're working with the heart, right? And that's part of the great mystery. Don't forget, you heard it here first. I haven't read that anywhere. I just see it. I can express that myself. A heart stands here for the buddhe and manas together. The manas, I'd have to look that up again. I don't remember. Oh, well, that's like the mana, the food, the light and the food together. Okay, so my heart, my mother, my heart, whereby I came into being, may not stand up to oppose me at my judgment. May there be no parting of thee from me in the presence of him that keepeth the balances. Thou art my double ka. in other words, the higher self. In other words, the double is that we have a lower self and a higher self. One of them has to die so the other can live. The dweller in my body, the spirit, in other words. Verily, how great shalt thou be when thou risest in triumph. That's Budge from the Book of the Dead. I know we lost all Christians with that one. But the casual body is the mother, whereby the ego comes into being on the lower planes. It is the cause of the series of incarnations in the weighing of the heart before Osiris, against the feather, of course, in the balances. The development of the casual body is judged by its balance against its character. The casual body is the devil on the higher plane of the personality, and when perfection is reached, well, we just lost all the Christians again. Whenever the perfection is reached, the two selves, lower and higher, become one and rise in triumph to the Buddhic plane. That's the plane of light. See, their philosophy, regardless of how corrupt the priests were, what they structured for the people, for society, just like the Vatican, just like in Babylon, just like in Jerusalem, anywhere in these traditions in India, they reached out to the people with what on appearances, on the surface, looked like benevolent and pure, honest transcendence. But then the priesthood are in the back room having a party, getting stoned, and and ritually sacrificing or raping babies, whatever. And the people outside, they have no idea what's real, going on. But boy, they're reading scriptures that to them is profound truth, because it's on the surface about honesty, about confession. Oh, get into the box, my son, and confess to me your sins. Oh, bless me, Father, for I have sinned, and these are my sins. I mean, you can imagine having a guy in town who's got everybody confessing to him what's going on in their minds. Can you imagine? Talk about mind control. Well, my son, I think you need to say 1,000 Our Fathers and 500 Hail Marys, and then get back with me, okay? And by the way, what are you doing for dinner tonight? And yeah, I mean, talk about the ultimate spy network. Got everybody confessing to him in their community, and that's been going on for thousands of years. The confessional isn't from the Catholic Church; it's from the Babylon, and probably goes back further. I know at least it goes into Babylon. And so the casual body is the double on a higher plane of the personality, and when perfection is reached, the two selves, lower and higher, become one and rise in triumph to the Buddhic plane. That's back to the light. The heart lies in the seas of blood which dart in opposite directions, and there most of all intelligence centers for men, for blood about the heart is intelligence in the case of men. That's in Empedocles. Fairbanks. Okay, I'm going to read that again. That kind of went right over my head. The heart lies in the seas of blood which dart in opposite directions, and there most of all intelligence centers for men, for blood, about the heart is intelligence in the case of men. I'll have to meditate on that one. The heart or love principle is in closest contact with the life essence, that's blood, which flows. That's why we're not supposed to eat the blood of animals or energies in opposite ways or to pairs of opposites. In other words, the life essence is directed toward objects which involve opposite relationships. And through this conflict, intelligence develops in the mind from the awakenment of the emotion principle. The life essence concentrated in the casual body in higher affections gives intuition when it is united with the mental principle. The heart was considered to be the source of all life and thought, and it was the part of the body that was specifically taken care of in mummifying. Well, that's interesting because they sure did a number on the brain. They sucked the brains right out of everybody that got mummified. I was like, what's that? What are they doing? The brain. You're sucking out the brain. What's that supposed to mean? Sometimes the heart amulet is human-headed with the hands crossed over it, and sometimes a figure of the soul in the shape of a hawk with outstretched wings is inlaid on one side of it. Budge, the mummy. Page 262 and 3. The casual body is perfected by the purification of the personality, mummifying. It is the immortal soul, the seat of the higher self, also known as hawk. As the Elohian harp vibrates to the wind, so does the heart of men everywhere to the true meanings of Yahweh. That's J. Byerly, Studies of the Soul, page 168. The soul is often called the heart of man, or that in it by which things to either good or evil, that would be corrupt or incorrupt maybe, or sun and moon, or light and darkness, have their rise. Thus, desires are of the heart or soul. Yeah, before desires, the first conception of good or evil is in the soul, the heart. The heart comprehends, wills, affects, reasons, judges, but these are the faculties of the soul. Wherefore heart and soul are often taken for one and the same. I never did that. To me, the soul is it's virtually more attuned to spirit. That's how I have seen it. My son, give me your heart. Well, I guess the heart could be the soul. Maybe that is the soul. That's in between the mind and the lower chakra. So maybe the center, that is the center, right? That's what I was saying. So maybe that's the case. I've not seen it that way. My son, give me your heart. Proverbs 23:26. Out of the heart proceeds dark thoughts, and so on. Matthew 15:19. 1 Peter, Kephe, correctly, 3:15. Psalms 26:2. J. Bunyan, Greatness of the Soul. John Bunyan. Oh, John Bunyan. Boy, that guy was a classic. Yeah, I think he did like 15 years. His daughter was blind. His heart went out to his daughter. She was blind. He wrote Pilgrim's Progress, of course, and what a story. Read his life story, ladies and gentlemen. Be inspired. Both the symbols, soul and heart, have higher and lower meanings in accordance with the duality of manifestation. By the word heart, of course, we have meant not merely the seat of the affections, but the organ of tender emotion and the like, but rather the inmost sanctuary of personal being, the synthesis of its love and will, the very source of its energy and life. E. Underhill, Mysticism, page 85. The great Elohim spirit is throned in the heart. He walks with us as a friend. Maybe that's why he said to pull off the foreskin from the heart, right? That may be what that's about. He breathes into our spirit the inspiration of power and love and of sound mind. In the secret places of our trial and our doubt, in an hour when our nature trembles on the verge of falling, in the hour when our being asserts its immortal perfection in the flowing light against the base temptations, he is with us, inspiring us with the memory of the Mo'eshiach, Christ, calling on us to be worthy of our calling, pouring life and energy into the affections which raise us above the selfishness, into the aspirations which make us despise our blindness, kindling hope in the midst of our despair and faith to try again when life has failed. Stopford A. Brooke, Sermon, Pentecost. The fact is that the heart is a symbol of the central life of the soul and the manifestations thence proceeding for the scriptural writers as well as for the classical writers generally. A Caldecott, Philosophy of Religion, page 89. And then we'll just do one more, and then we'll look for the heaven next month. Heat and cold, symbol of the opposite conditions of relativity, good and evil, or sun and moon, light and darkness. Divine truth proceeds from the Lord of the Yahweh of the sun in the cosmos, is light in the sun, and divine perfection is the heat thereof. And there you have the Dictionary of All Scriptures and Myths, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to take another short break, just do about 2 minutes, 3 minutes max, and then we'll be on the Forbidden History of America, ladies and gentlemen, what they didn't want you to know. Again. But we're still going to spill the beans because we love doing it. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Hope you're telling your friends. And hope you're having a revolution in thinking, okay? Because We're here for a very short moment. Boom, bomb, bada, bing. We're out of here. And when did that happen? And how did I get here? I'm out of here already. Wait a minute. Notice how quick the years tick. The older you get, it seems like it keeps speeding up. When we were little, it's like, oh, when am I ever going to be 10 years old? Or when am I ever going to be an adult? I'm tired of everybody telling me what to do. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're like, okay, can the clock slow down a little bit? I'd like to stick around. No, you don't want to stick around because it's sick anyway. It's a dead place, but we got to figure it out. That's the problem. We just simply don't know who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are, and what we're going to do about it. And that's why you're tuned in right here, of course. I know that. So don't go away. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, on Forbidden History Live. We're just here, I'm between Ninja Cat 111 and Forbidden History Live. I can't keep track of where we're on. We're on, let's see, about 7 times a week right now. Maybe may increase that. And there's a lot to talk about and little time to talk about it, and that's the reason I'm, doing as much as I'm doing. I used to do a whole lot more. I used to do 6 hours a night, 7 days a week, and I produced programs for other people, including myself, on therealpublicradio.net. And so go check out my radio museum, and there's 200 pages of information there. A lot of the YouTubes are obsolete now, but a lot of the information there is still relevant. Lots of graphics, a lot of photos. And in fact, Shelly and Ninja, you may want to check out all my pages there because you'll get a lot of good graphics. I think you'll find some stuff that might be good for the program, especially dealing with these conversations like the Chimera. We talk about the Chimera. Well, go check it out, okay? It's on the museum tab, therealpublicradio.net, and then look for Chimera. And just there's just so much, that I 6 years of development, literally about $60,000 of time, at least 40, but maybe upwards of $60,000 of is that Ninja? Donations went into that thing, okay, to produce it. And so check it out before they cut it off the internet. Here we go. Ninja Cat 111. Ninja, I haven't talked to you in a long time. How's it going? We got to stop meeting like this. What's up?
Chance encounters across the planet. Yeah.
Did you say you came across you came across the planet and you're in Canada?
No.
I'm sorry, what? Huh?
There's that Aussie accent again.
That's actually speaking a foreign language. Okay, let's translate. Try it one more time.
Chance encounters across the planet.
Chance encounters. You what?
Chance encounters across the planet.
And the last part you said?
Across the planet.
Across the planet. I thought there was more. All right, that's good enough. We'll take it. That's right. We're half our way around the world in 80 milliseconds, and here we are. And so how are things down under?
Frustrating and cold. The only way I could get a break and focus on this program was to call in and to shut myself away and call in.
I
see. Thank you.
Okay.
Let there be the rain.
Yeah. And I just want to add, hold on. I just want to, Shelley, on that particular graphic with the phone, I think in white letters below, if you put live caller, that would I think help, because the graphic doesn't give enough information, but live caller would be really cool, in the future, not right now, of course. I'm just throwing out little tipperoo there. Okay, back to you, Ninja. We're engineering as we go. It's Yo Engineer. Go ahead.
We love your suggestions, Desert, and we take them all on board.
Hey, you're all inspiring me. It's like this is called synergy. And I'm just I'm pinching myself because I never had this organization before like this. It's always just been me, and it's been pretty rough. lonely, and of course I always took that rope with me everywhere I went, just in case. I was so sick of it. It's like, imagine being in this world and literally wanting to die. That's a pretty bad state to be in, but that's where I've been, especially after falling victim to a government sting operation, where they try to put you away forever. You have a whole new perspective. You don't know what framed means until somebody framed you, and then you know what framed means. And especially when it's the people with tin badges on, they're wearing tin badges. They claim to be benevolent, here to protect the society, and they're the ones that are putting you away forever, and they committed the crime. Hey, Jet, good to have you. We got Jet 888. Good numbers.
Hey, Jet, how's it going? I love all of you guys. At the start, I want you to know, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, we're all here. We're all here with you.
Well, yeah.
And we love you a lot.
Worry about what? Yeah. What's the issue? I don't remember.
No.
You mean I wasn't feeling too sorry for myself, was I? I'm sorry, I didn't get the...
Oh, no, you were telling a story, and you got emotional. And,
okay.
Yeah. It was beautiful and heartbreaking, and we love you. We're all here with you now.
No, I'm inspired. I really don't feel like ever, wanting to take my life at this point, because I have so many people I'm serving. When nobody cares about what you've dedicated a lifetime to learn, and then nobody cares, it's like, that's pretty painful. When you know that you know that you know, and nobody else gets it, And so what's the problem is it took me 40 plus years to really be able to spell it out. That's what was challenging, because the illusion and the grand deception is so great that, you can't tell the story if you've only got part of it. You need the whole kit and caboodle. And that's what ultimately has come to the table for me over this long process by Yeshua.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, can I talk to you about a wow that I had?
Yeah.
A few minutes ago. You were talking about the hearts, and you said maybe the heart is the soul. I agree with you, because the way I found my connection with Yeshua was through the heart. I felt it. I feel it. So that just wowed me. It made perfect sense to me. The mind can deceive, can trick us. But the heart, I don't know how to explain it now. I don't know.
Well, the way I was looking at it was,
you can feel it. It's the heart.
okay. Yeah. Well, the way I was seeing, I noticed, over this process of time, there are three distinct centers: the lower center, which is purely in the physical realm, and then the mental, which is sort of like the the spirit, the infinite, what?
I was just thinking sort of halfway.
No, it's the infinite realm. Because because the mind is elusive. You can't touch it. And then in the middle, in between the heart and the mental and the physical, is the heart at the center. And so it seems to me that that's where we can find compassion in the from the heart. We always identify it as being from the heart. So it has nothing to do with how much knowledge you have, because we can all feel compassion and love and embrace the down and out or the injured and those things. So but people who are in the fully in the lower realm, they could care less about you. They're out having their own thing and don't bother me, okay? But yet the mind, the mental, then some people, well, they think they're better than everybody else, so they don't give a damn either, But if we can get right in the middle between the mind and the sensual, then we find the heart. And so clearly the heart is just like the sun is at the center of everything, then the heart clearly is the middle ground, from that standpoint. And a lot more can be said about it probably. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what else that I saw was coming from the narration of this world, you hear the term heart and soul like they're separate things, and that's what we're thinking. Maybe they're not supposed to be separate. Maybe they are joined together, heart and soul. Maybe they're the same thing. So yeah, that's what got me wowing and thinking. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to. There was a song about that as well. I think heart and soul. That's the only part I can remember of the song, but I remember.
I wanted to hear more.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll have to stay tuned. We'll see if we can find that oldie somewhere. Maybe we can pull it up. And okay. Is the check in the mail?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Private joke. Don't worry about it.
I'm relieved to be in here. To have a moment to myself for this. So I think I've just got an attack of the giggles. Relief and appreciation and gratitude, all bundled up in one beautiful little package. And I haven't had much sleep, so I'm a bit loopy.
Okay.
I was going to say something and now it's gone. No, it's gone. And we are live on the Forbidden History.
Yeah. And some of us are dead. It's a mix. It's all mixed. Yeah. Right.
A lot of us are, unfortunately.
Yeah. Or we're right in the middle, and at least we have hope, and that's the good news. We have hope that the doors are opening. The door is staying open and waiting. The problem is we're running out of time. That's our big challenge. The clock is ticking, and we've got to pull this together. Where we are, who we are, why we are, and when we are, and there's little time to do that. So I hope that people that get this broadcast will dig deep and soul search, and search their heart. And realize there's something fantastic in our eternal walk, eternal, without an end. What an I don't want to use the word concept, but I guess precept is the right word. It's what a phenomenal knowledge, that we have a soul that that lives forever. It not can live, it will live, and the question is, where, how, and what are we being told here that is relevant to this story, to that journey, and will we put it all on? Will we be clothing ourselves with that perfection of light, or will we be shrouded in darkness and delusion? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Sorry. Oh, yeah. I'm just wowing.
Okay, you get 3 more wows, and then go ahead. I'm sorry.
So many wows from Ninja.
2 more wows left. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't want to get off this phone right now. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that we've stepped it up and we've got regular programming now, regular streams, because that's what we need, and it's just going to get more powerful and more powerful, and we're going to get more connected, and we're on our way home. So,
yeah, well, we have a number of new people come on your network or your channel this week, and I think it's going to continue to grow. I think they're going to be following. I think people are curious, and they're also realizing, well, Desert has a funny name, but he certainly is mentioning a few things I've not heard anywhere else, and if they want to figure it out, they're going to have to come back. So so that's cool. That's good.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm inspired. Yeah. I love the challenge of being able to reach somebody's inner thinking capacity, because most people are on fluoride and programming, and they don't have time to to stop to be able to process anything, and it's a shame, because life is passing us by. It's the irony of this existence, like, think about how many people have already lived and are gone. It's, where did they go, right? Where did they go? If the good book says that you've got to have this particular fulfillment, and you didn't, then obviously there's a problem.
Which is most of the people of the past.
Well, that's it. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
So many didn't make it.
There's about as many people that have already lived as there are alive right now. In our world history, there may have been 7 billion people that have already come and gone. There's about 7 billion that are alive right now, supposedly, and so life is precious, and it blows my mind how Yeshua can be connected to everybody, and I'm just realizing how special it is to have a relationship with him, no matter how great or how small it is. What can I say? It's a great mystery, and we need to pursue it with everything we've got. Everything.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. There's no computer game or other external activity that means anything in this great drama. We have to be connected with the one, and we have to know that we know that we know, and we have to attempt to help others on the journey. And then if we can help others on the journey, he says, you confess me before others, I'm going to confess you before the Father. Boom, bang, bing, bong, and you are doing your job, and then a great miracle can happen. Okay, you're not going to get it by not telling anybody else. That's part of the algorithm. So go figure.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I agree. That's what prompted me to go on YouTube and start making videos, because I could see so much that was wrong with this world, and I could see it all changing, and I felt that I had to start sharing, mainly because Australia wasn't really being talked about when it came to the changes in the weather and all that sort of stuff. But no one was talking about this part of the planet, and I wanted people to know that the deception was worldwide. It wasn't just focused on certain parts of the planet, it was worldwide. And I think along the way a few people realised that because of my channel. And all credit goes to Yeshua, because I wouldn't have had the courage or the strength to do that, being such a quiet, introverted person. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't, realize that Yeshua is real.
You were an you were an introverted serpent. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
Okay. The serpent just wanted to crawl in a hole somewhere, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been wanting to crawl under a rock most of my life, actually. But
Hissing at everybody else. Yes.
So I did the opposite. Yeah.
When everybody figures out you're a serpent, you feel pretty snaked, don't you?
Yeah.
Everybody's looking at me. What are you looking at? So you're naked too. So there you go. You think you got something over on me? And they think that it was a snake that was talking to Eve, like snakes can talk, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's a mystery. That's a great mystery, that one. Yeah. But we unraveled it right here, didn't we? And nobody else is getting it, right? And we're the only ones on the planet that get it. Yeah.
You know what?
What?
As awake as I thought I was when I first started watching your live streams, wow. Like I could see how that didn't make sense, but I had to watch quite a few of your programs and speak with you live to deprogram from that. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So bring it on. We need to keep going with these programs and
deprogrammed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We need it.
We'll do it. I got nothing else to do. They took away everything from me, so I'm now public enemy number one.
Actually,
I'm the worst enemy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying I've got nothing else to do either, but actually, I don't get time to myself.
Hey,
you know what I mean.
Right. Did you notice that lady, what's her name? No Script. She's actually from Queensland. Isn't that close to you?
Yeah, I thought she was an Aussie. And no, I'm down the bottom of the country. She's up the top.
I see. Okay, well, maybe you should make a connection. You got to make a connection, okay?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Because you
I
may...
have to go and stop her.
And bring you some options there, okay? You need options, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to keep up. I have to remember to do this. And so many things are half done here in this household, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just glad to be involved in this. This is my lifeline, so yeah. Thank you, and thank you, family. I love you all.
All right. Well, glad you called in.
Yeah.
And we'll look for you later in the week, and so
on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see on the chat then, okay? And we're going to be on. Let's see here. We're on Friday evening right now, so tomorrow. After the sun comes up, then somewhere between, I think, 11 a.m. and noon Eastern time will be on tomorrow, Saturday. So may have some engineering to do first, but then We'll be on.
There's always yellow engineering to do.
Yeah. So okay. All right. Yochelleg.
That's good.
Yochelleg. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Ninja.
Okay. I was going to say something else that's gone. Oh yes, that was all. Thank you for the break.
Thank you for the break. You're breaking me.
No worries.
All right.
No worries.
No, I'm not worried. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll let you get on with it now.
All right. Thank you, Ninja.
Yeah. Peace and light always.
Peace and love. Bye-bye.
See ya.
All right. That's Ninja. And my $1 million caller, if I didn't have Ninja calling in, we practically wouldn't have a program, because she does such a great job. And I had to practically pay her to call in the first time. I break her arm. I can't remember how that happened, but come on, yeah, you need to call in. No, yeah, I can. Oh yeah, you can. And then finally, and she did, and then now she can't stop calling in, and it's great. I'm so grateful for the interaction, and it's very novel to have a friend on the other side of the world, and not the other side of the pancake. Okay, the other side of the world, and so. We're in the Forbidden History of America now, ladies and gentlemen, and it's Friday evening. Do you know where your planet is? Do you know where you are, who you are, where you are, when you are, why you are, what you're going to do about it? Have you figured it all out yet? Do you give a damn? The dam's going to break. Okay, up there in Northern California. Apparently, I haven't heard much lately about the. What was that dam? But they get you so caught up in the drama that I can't follow that stuff anymore. Okay, if it breaks, then I'll hear about it. But we already know the score. They're gonna pull the plug on everything. Everything. Orville, thank you, Shelley. Orville, they're gonna pull the plug on. And that was designed. Why do we have all these nuclear power plants? You think, when the power goes out and they can't maintain their cooling systems, that we're not going to have a problem, and that they didn't figure that one out? They build a nuclear plant right there in Del Mar, California, right on the water, right on the Pacific shore, right on a fault line. Del Mar, California, atomic nuclear power plant. Yeah. Well, I guess it was bad engineering, but it was a good price. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So the price we'll pay will be far greater later on. Then, okay. So we're in the Forbidden History of America by the Informer, no longer with us. Chapter 6. I'm reading it for the first time on the air because I never got a chance to read it, so I'm going to do it with you because I don't have time to redo all my reading anymore. And we do it live on the air and sometimes dead, however it comes. Okay, so if this subtitle is, Are You Supreme in the Scheme of Things, ladies and gentlemen? How do you feel about that? Are you supreme? And if North Carolina is only a geographical place in America in which the state resides along with you, who is supreme? Slave. Which of the two can be called the sovereign? Is not the state a corporate religion? Is the Lord a religion? I think not. Are there many religions in the state? To be recognized as a religion, does not those religions have to register with the IRS, FED, the Fed, state team to get the 501c3 exemption? This goes against what the government preaches, that being church and state separation. Good point. Government drones are hypocrites because to be a church, you must be controlled by the very state that boasts that church and state must not mix. Whoa! How did that happen? I guess that's doublespeak. That's the serpent speaking with forked tongue, no doubt. This is where logical minds do not prevail in the masses, and they have no reasoning or common sense. Who then is the master if the state will not recognize the religion if not licensed? That's the lie sense. The lie sense. They've been smoking Sensimilla, no doubt. Shades of merry old England and the crown that controlled all the religions before the what? Revolutionary War? What revolution? But what if you are under another church called government? The Lord said he set his church upon the rock, meaning he set his government upon the earth, not some church building or religion. Go back to the last chapter and you can see why I said there are four governments in the geographical area. Now you can see why the state is telling you that they can't mix the church, quote, in parentheses, government. Government church, we might say. If the Lord and the state's government church. How factious to believe we are free people and can worship the Almighty and follow his laws without the crown interfering, paying taxes to a rogue IRS that cannot be proven to be created by the legislature, which oppresses through fear, intimidation, and coercion and murder by the legislature, and which operates through fear, extortion, threats, killing, jailing, seizures, suicides, and the like, taking of chandeliers, everything you got under the sun, to keep everyone in bondage, to pay a tribute to their Kaiser, to the elite internationalist, using England as a front, since it too went bankrupt before the United States did in 1861, not to mention through the Waterloo and the Rothschilds of deception. The Queen of England bows down to the Lord Mayor of London. Go figure. So what are you in the scheme of things? A slave? Yeah, you're right, Christians. You're right on point, because I'll bet 99% of you Christians, in quotes, did not know that the fourth government was the Lord's. If you said no, you are living a delusion. The American Dictionary, delusion, a definition, a false belief held in spite of invalidating evidence. If you don't have enough evidence to dispel your delusion, there is more evidence to come. Webster's 1828 American Dictionary, delusion, the act of deluding, deception, a misleading of the mind. We are all liable to the delusions of artifice. That's also known as craft. Artifice, stratagem, an artificial or ingenious device, in good or bad, in a good or bad sense. In a bad sense, it corresponds with trickery, or fraud. And next up will be in chapter 7, the connection. Oh, I love making those connections. All right, and that's the Informer and the Forbidden History of America. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to a break, Shelley, and then we'll be back with George Lamsa and Old Testament Light, New Testament Light. And maybe we'll get into that slimy, stinky Babylonian Talmud before we close out. Okay, you're tuned into Forbidden History Live. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Does anybody really care? Do you really know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen? We'll be right back. Glad you tuned in. having fun yet, ladies and gentlemen? Maybe we're having too much fun. Sometimes I feel guilty about having fun when we're dealing with so much suffering in our world and so much contradictions to, the spiritual nature of things. But in all the insanity that goes on, I think sometimes it's okay to have a little bit of fun and sarcasm. These people are having a lot of fun committing murder and mayhem and the destruction of life. So I guess we can, loosen up a little bit. I guess I don't know. It's hard to put words to it sometimes. There's so much beauty in nature. So much. When I go down and walk down the trail of this area where I'm at, and the deer, they got these beautiful big ears, these giant big ears, and they're listening. They're afraid. They're afraid of man. They see man, they want to run the other way. It's funny how all nature wants to run when they see us coming, isn't it? There's something different about us. The potentials that we have is so fantastic and so great, and yet we have found out that what they've perfected is the worst in mankind. They've perfected the worst, and it's sickening. And just want to get an audio check for backup, okay? So I don't talk for 10 minutes and then find out nothing came through. It looks like I'm good on my Yogeneering here, but I just want to make sure. We've got a lot of work to do, and the work is on the self, on perfecting the self, because we have thank you, Ninja. We have a potential that is so phenomenal within our makeup, within our being, that people have no idea. Like if we talk about the power of the sun, the power that the sun has, it never stops shining. Come on. And Yeshua said that all power was given unto him in the cosmos and in the earth. All power. Can you realize what power? That means all the stars, okay? Not just the sun, but all the stars in the cosmos. He is Yahweh in representation. The agent is no different than the principle. The principle is as the agent, and what he is he and I can't begin to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the what you need to see and read it for yourself. Okay, you need to become a deep study and go where no one else has gone before, in the literal metaphor, And even that picture, it seems so bright when you put that picture up there, Shelley. I can feel the intensity. And what is it? The yellow? I don't know, but it must be something in that yellow, because you would think that white would have that effect, but for some reason that yellow spectrum really has an intense feeling. So there's something in the yellow. And then that's where we get the word Yah-love. Yah-love. The word love is right in the word yellow. Yal, for that which goes round, the dayal. Yah-love. Yah-love. And there you go. And Yah-love is in Deutschland and sleeping right now, but she's usually on with us on Ninja Cat's program, the Forbidden History Chronicles, because the time factors are different. But wow, it's quite a ride, ladies and gentlemen, in this grand illusion, the Matrix. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. But before we cap off our program tonight, let's just do a little George Lamsa on the Old Testament light, and then we'll do some New Testament light. Okay, so the formed man is Genesis 2:27. We're just getting started. We got how many pages in this book? 960, 1,000 pages, and we're on page 12. Okay, so hopefully we got enough time, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll learn a few things from the Eastern side. George Lamsa spoke anywhere from 5 to 10 languages. I can't remember now, but he was a phenomenal individual. I wish I would have known him. So, and the Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, formed a Shan man in the from the not from the dust, but from the fiery magma on the earth, and breathed into his nostrils. There's the Nazare from the nasal. The Nazare came forth out of that to remind us. The nostrils, the gnosis, there's where the knowledge was breathed into him, the breath of life. And Eshan became a living shul, a living conscious entity of comprehension, a shul. Shul is knowledge. Filled with knowledge by Yahweh, therefore, we should say. That's what it's stating right there, ladies and gentlemen. It was breathed into him, okay? Breathed. He didn't pick up a few books and read them, you know. It was breathed into him. Wow. What would it have been like to have been him, you know, and to have been there? And then Lamsa follows here. The creation of Eshan and Eshaphe, the woman, Eshaphe. Woman literally means the judgment of man. Okay, I guess man wasn't happy about something with the deal here. I'm not sure, but the judgment of man, woman is the judgment of man. Well, because it's symbolic. Woman is symbolic. It's meaning creation is the judgment of man. This phony creation that we've got here. That's the problem. Then we got to deal with this phony woman called Lucy, this Luciferian occult that puts on all their medallions and all their badges and all their little tassels, and they feel so important, and they're following Lucy, Lucy. That's why they came out with Lucy Ball, you know, that television program. I never could stand Lucy. I was so sick of that comedy program. I never could watch it, you know. And I know why now, you know, because she represented the falsehood of this world, the joke, the big joke that's played on all of us, are described in the first chapter of Genesis. Okay, male and female created he them. I guess that was that's another joke then, right? You know, the division of us. In other words, it's like it would be fair to say that man and woman are two different animals, right? Two different animals. And it seems like they're so opposed to each other that you know, it's hard to reckon at times, you know. But certainly it has a problem with within the mind. The problem is in the mind. Maybe sometimes the problem is in the flesh, you know. And then maybe sometimes it's both. This is recorded as the work of Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, or El, in the short version of which came out of Babylon, because it's really Ul, it's the owl, meaning that we are a sentient being that has the ability to see things unlike all other creation. The Ul, the owl, is the great representative of that, as well as the eagle, the A-goal. The goal is the A. The universal great Elohim. But in the second chapter, we read about Yahweh, who is also known as Lord, but correctly Yahweh. This term, falsely known as Yahweh, that's mispronounced. This term was known to the Avres, correct for Hebrew, Avres, star rays, the star rays, only after the Exodus in Meitzar. Well, they see that's not true. That's not true. You see, because the priesthood put all their lies in our scriptures. That's why. Because they knew him as Yahweh right out the gate. You know, and I'm amazed that Lance is saying that, but not totally, because I know the problem. We've talked about this already on the broadcast, and I showed the scriptures outright to prove that this is not correct. The star rays, the Avres, you're going to have to just see and read it for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, or call in with a question on another tonight or anytime, and I will be glad to then refer you to the scriptures. I can do it within 2 minutes. The Avre, the star ray, patriarchs had never used it. Not true. Not true. Elohim, or El, or the God of Zavramhaim, Esheach, or Yaakov, is a universal term. You know, the great Elohim, the creator and the source of all life. But Yahweh which we call Lord, was the tribal deity with limited power. Not true. Okay, not true. I'm as well as Lamsa was with the Aramaic. In reading this book, I'm astonished that he had missed certain things, but it proves out that their manipulation of our Western scriptures was equal within the Eastern as well. They even told Lamsa when he came over here, they said, no, we're not going to publish your book. You either give us the right to redraft it, and we'll redraft it, and then we'll publish it, or we're not going to publish it. No, because you're already telling too much truth. But in spite of that, Lamsa, was didn't have the whole scheme, because it was that, like I told you, they came into the East after Constantine took over the Roman Empire. They said, we're destroying all your original scriptures. We're going to give you the demotic El Strangulo. We're going to strangle you. That's what El Strangulo means, right in the word. We're going to strangle you, and you'll be as good as dead, but you'll think you're alive, and you'll have part truth and part lies. But the truth is not a part of any lie. So we've got to unravel the great mystery, ladies and gentlemen. That's the problem, you see. Okay, and that's what we're doing right here every time we're on the broadcasts, virtually 7 days a week. He was stronger than the Elohim, of course, because Yahweh is the supreme one. He's the architect, where Great Elohim is the creator. Real simple, but it's all been convoluted. That's the problem. But at times he was limited to geographic. No, he wasn't. Okay. I remember reading this, and I put question marks next to all this stuff when I read it the first time. Anyway, the Hebrews in Meitzar had lost the knowledge of the Yahweh of their forefathers. There you go. He's got that right. And Moesha didn't even know the title of the deity. Moesha didn't even know the title of the deity of the people until Yahweh told him, I am Yahweh. But of course, what we're given by the priesthood, because they corrupted it, was I am that I am, but it's not it. I am the one. I am the one Yahweh. The one Yahweh is the correct line that they struck out of our scriptures, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? And I am, here it says, the way Lamsa wrote it, I am Ahaya Eshar, there's Esha, Eshar, Heya, the living, Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, the one which always has been. The second account of creation is based on the Yahwistic idea of Yahweh as the Yahweh of this particular tribe. That's what Lamsa is saying here. I didn't see it from this standpoint up above, where it makes a little more sense. He was the tribal father of this, who we call Yisrael or Israel. You see, because he was exclusive, obviously. He was revealing himself through this tribe, who is regarded as the vine, the vein on the tree. Okay, the tree. He was revealing himself through one particular tribe in our world, on the tree of life. In other words, the great Elohim is portrayed as an Eshan, limited in his powers and knowledge to this specific group of people. So there's so much, that we have to deal with, ladies and gentlemen, within the problems, excuse me, of translation. And we have the Original Thought Transliteration Project that we've been bringing your way. We're doing the oral version right now. Hope to do the physical transliteration here real soon. I'm working on it. I'm getting close. When you do this thing without the funny money and you do it with a song, a wing, and a prayer, it doesn't come that quick. It'd be great to have a staff of 3 or 4 or 5 people that work, all work in tandem, and but it's not like that. Fox's Book of Martyrs just had Robert Fox. One guy who was up in an attic on the 3rd floor with gloves with his fingertips coming through the gloves in the wintertime, where he lost his health and died early, in his life because he sacrificed to do that kind of work. I feel, I feel like I can't hold a candle to these people that have, been my forerunners, what they have done with a quill and pen, a quill and an inkwell, and I got all this technology and stuff, and then, the Masons have been sabotaging my work every year. I've been here 5 years every year. I've gone through 5 computers in 5 years, basically. They've stolen from me 15 years worth of data. Attempted to break in my apartment. I've got 24 locks on my door in order to, with chains and bolts and everything else, They work overtime to destroy the truth. And so I hope you realize that, supporting this broadcast and what we do is relevant. Even my PayPal account now has been sabotaged, so I can't even get a PayPal, at the moment. And so send it by a carrier pigeon if you like, okay? And I'm sure Yahweh will know how to get it here. Yeah. So let's read New Testament light. And New Testament is a misnomer. There is no New Testament. It's that which is first. That which is first is superior. That which is first is original. And it is the everlasting covenant. It's always been here. As he said, his works were finished from the beginning, before things even came into being, before he even said, let there be light. All things were already preordained and pre-designed, good to go. So that when he initiated the first atom, which is Yeshua, when he initiated the first atom, everything took off. Yahweh was in his rest. He needed not do anything else, but said, let there be. Let there be light. The power of Yahweh is so fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. So fantastic. Even in second Esdras out of the Apocrypha. It says in there that if all the stars of the universe were collected together in one lump, all the stars of the universe came together in one lump, that the power of Yahweh would still be 10,000 times greater than all the stars of the universe. Can you imagine what that means? What that implies. Yeshua is maintaining the entire cosmos. And we're like little one-celled amoebas down here, having a party, kicking ourselves around, and never getting the picture, never getting the import of who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are. And what are we going to do about it? How are we going to do about it? All right. So I'm in the Everlasting Covenant, or what's named as the New Testament Light by George Lamsa. Over 400 passages explained. A passage, okay? The passage is a narrow, you can imagine yourself going down a passage, right? Like the ancient. And thank you, Ninja. Wisdom and works. So the son of, and this is out of Matthew 11:19, the Son of Man, or the seed of the Son, more correctly, because they switched it all out, came eating and drinking. The seed of the Son came eating and drinking. He was willing to be entertained with us, to hang out with us, good buddy, And they say, you must see and read it for yourself. This Ashan is gluttonous, a wine-bibber, a friend of the tax collectors and the blind. But wisdom is justified of her seed. Matthew 11:19. Forgive me, I needed a sip. Zippity-doo-dah, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday night. Do you know where your sanity is? The Eastern text reads, yet wisdom is justified by its works. This means that wisdom is verified by the fruits thereof. Just as gold and silver are purified by fire, wisdom is proved or justified by the results of actions caused by it. Many times wisdom fails or seems to sound like folly, for not everything we call wisdom is wise. We must put it in operation and see its results before we can tell whether it is wisdom or folly. Foolishness is wisdom to fools, but it is folly to the wise. Okay. So a little short. I like these because they're really short, but are very poignant, and I'm reading it here with you. I don't have time to read this anymore, so we're doing it live on the broadcast and hope we're getting the pictures that we need to get. And so we've got one more, and then we're good. Unless you call in, unless somebody, I should have $100 bill here to say, okay, if you call in on Skype, you win the prize. I've not, since I've been doing this broadcast now, I don't know how many months, we've not had one call on Skype, and it's like, okay. When I used to do broadcasting back when I had the realpublicradio.net, everybody used Skype. I don't know, is Skype obsolete now or what? I don't get it. Nobody calls in on Skype, and I'd pay them if I could, but I can't. So and I keep putting out the word out there, but nobody seems to be calling in. Of course, we've only got 6-pack plus one listening in, so I guess that's probably the problem. They say for every caller, there's 1,000 listeners. Okay, so go figure, right? This is the rule with radio. For every caller you get on a program, there's 1,000 listeners. So we don't even have 10 listeners. So obviously, there's only one caller, and it's Ninja Cat 111. And I'm so grateful that she was the one in 1,000 that is willing to call in all the time. And but very often, I'm sure there's somebody out there that is still trying to figure something out, and I wouldn't imagine they'd be afraid to talk to Desert, after they've been listening in for several weeks, to know that I don't throw punches. I don't pick on anybody. I respect everybody's view, and hope that you'll, be able to feel free to bring on your question, So, and nobody gave me the answer. Did I not get the answer to that original question tonight? What was Noah's first act after leaving the ark? Of course, you'd have to call in, I guess, with that. I'm not going to see it on the chat because that thing's rolling by. I guess I'll give up that project because I'm not getting any calls. So anyway, we're in a book by Will Durant. Will and Ariel Durant. They traveled the world, and they literally wrote like 11 volumes, and each volume is at least 1,000 pages. Okay, so that'd be what? 12,000 pages of typing, and they did it in the museums, in the cafes, in all different parts of the world, wherever they were writing about. What an opportunity. And of course, it's not the same as putting on Yeshua. I wouldn't say it's that great, because I don't care. I want to. I want to transcend this world. I mean, it'd be fun to go traveling and all that stuff, sure. But, if it come down to going on the inward journey versus the outward, I'll take the inward, because that's where the action is, where we can put on the great light of Yeshua and have a supernatural experience that nobody can appreciate, and where nature is alive, and yeah. Okay, so we're in the part 2 on the Talmud. Part 2 was about rituals, so I'm picking it up where we left off on the last program. That was about 3 programs ago, at least, I think. The rabbis, like all of us, well, I don't know if they're like all of us at all. I'm not like the rabbis, I know that. Were experts on diet. Oh, yeah. They were experts on murder, too. Dietary wisdom begins with the teeth. These should never be extracted, no matter how they ache. For if a man chews well with his teeth, his feet will find strength. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Vegetables and fruits, except the dates, are highly recommended Meat is a luxury which only the well-washed should have. And I don't know where this is going. I've not read this before, but we're looking for some of the elements, like what the Babylonian Talmud is really all about is world domination. But all these rituals. See, in other words, the Pharaoh shamed, and in particular, and there is a distinction between the Sadducees and the Pharisees, but nonetheless, their doctrines, and like with the element of divide and conquer, like Democrat and Republican, they got two different factions, and it's great. It's a great division, like when we know we're supposed to be of one mind and one tradition, and then there's this great division. We see a problem right there, and it's because of the Babylonian Talmud. And they want us to think that the Jerusalem Talmud is somehow a sanitized version and not like the Babylonian, but that's baloney right there. And so that's why they killed Yeshua, because they were following the Babylonian Talmud, and they wanted him to follow all those rituals. Well, geez, that's interesting. So continuing, the animal is to be killed in such a way as to minimize its pain. Yeah, well, we see that in your meat factories, don't we? And draw the blood out of the meat. To eat flesh with blood is abomination. How about to murder the Moeshiach, to murder the Messiah? What do you think about that? Hence, the slaughter of animals for food must be left to trained individuals. Yeah, with a really sharp knife, who will also examine the viscera to make sure that the animal is not diseased, unless he's paid off, of course. Meat and milk and dishes prepared with them must not be eaten at the same meal or even placed near each other in the kitchen. The flesh or of swine is to be abhorred, unless it's in the back room, maybe. Eat no eggs. What? Eat no eggs, the second son? Well, there you go. That makes sense. Onions or garlic that have been left overnight without their shell or peel. Okay. Eat at stated hours only. Don't peck all day like hens. More people die from overeating than from undernourishment. Up to 40 eating is beneficial. After that age, drinking is beneficial. Moderation in drinking is better than total abstinence. Wine is often a good medicine, and there is no gladness without it. Well, I don't know about that. Well, maybe if you're following the Babylonian Talmud, sure. Pursuing the subject of diet to its end, the rabbis argue that he who prolongs his stay in a privy lengthens his years. Okay. And recommended a prayer of thanksgiving after every answer to nature's call. I guess, yeah, they might need some prayers. They frowned upon asceticism and counseled their people to enjoy the good things of life where no sin was involved. Well, they wouldn't care less anyway. They've taken the oath of Kol Nidre. Whatever they want to do, they can do. Fasts were obligatory at certain periods and on some holidays, but perhaps here too, religion was used as a prod to health. The wisdom of the race bade the Jews, well, of course there were no Jews until 1,000 years ago, Euthayans, I guess, keep festivals and make feasts now and then, despite the overtones of sorrow and longing that sounded even in their joys. On a festival, a nation, a man must make glad his wife and household. He must make them glad. Okay. How do you do that? If possible, he must outfit them with new clothes. Well, okay, that would help. The Eshavat, the greatest of the Euthayan inventions. Oh, really? I thought it was from Yahweh. Was apparently a burden in Talmudic days. I guess that would have been when they want to party all the time and do whatever they like to do. But they had to put on the show, though. They had to put on the front, that bibel. And the pious Yudin, or Jew, was then expected to speak as little as possible. Well, that would be hard. Light no fire in his home and spend hours in the synagogue. Synagogue is a code for putting out the eye of the sun. We prefer temple, thank you. And in prayer, a long tractate discussed with head-splitting, hair-splitting, just what might and what might not be done on the Shavat. And then just consider, ladies and gentlemen, that they are the news media, and they are the banksters, and they are the comedies in television. They are the actors in all the movies. Even Kirk Douglas changed his name. I mean, it's quite a show that they have put on for us. All the vaudeville acts, all of them, Khazars. But the casuistry of the rabbis was directed to mitigating rather than increasing the terror of piety. Their subtlety devised convincing reasons for doing what one had to do on the day of rest. One's got to do what one's got to do. So in other words, you violate your own code then, right? Mm-hmm. Moreover, then you crucify the Mo'eshiach, right, for healing people. Moreover, the good Judean discovered a secret happiness. Oh, we're not telling anybody. In observing the ancient Shavat ritual, he began it with a little ceremony of sanctification, Kiddush, surrounded by his family and his guests, for this was a favorite day for entertaining friends. He took a cup full of wine, pronounced a benediction over it, drank, and passed the cup along for the guests and wife and children to drink. Then he took bread and blessed it and thanked the Elohe would be the proper term for God here. How come they never use it? Who bringeth forth the bread from the earth, and passed portions of it to all who shared his table. No fasting or mourning was permitted on the Shavat. That's interesting. No healing either, right? Many holidays divided the year and gave new occasion for pious remembrance or graceful rest. Feshach, being the 14th of Nisan, which is in April, commemorated through 8 days the escape of the Yutheans from Meitzar, falsely called Egypt. In biblical times, it had been called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That would be Meitzar. Because the Yutheans had fled with the dough. They were not Jews. There were no Jews back then. You can imagine they're calling themselves Jews back in Meitzar with a J. There is no J. J's came along 200 years ago. There is no W. The W is a corruption of the V. There is no E in the proper because it starts with the A. It's a code, ladies and gentlemen, their code of deception. And had fled with the dough. The Yutheans had fled with the dough of their bread, still unleavened. Talmudic times called it Feshach, that is the Passover, because Yahweh smiting the firstborn of the Meitzarim passed over those houses whose doorposts had been sprinkled by the Yuthean occupation with the blood of the lamb. I'm sure they would have made the Pharaoh Jew if they could. On the first day of the feast, the Yutheans celebrated the Feshach meal, Seder. Each father, acting as leader of the service for his gathered family, performed with them a ritual recalling those bitter Moshiach days, and passed on by question and answer their treasured story to the young. At Pentecost, that's the 50th day, 7 weeks after the Feshach of the Feast of Shavuot, celebrated the wheat harvest and the revelation. There's the harvest right there. It was on the 50th day that the 120 in the room received the great breath of the wind and fire and started speaking like nobody ever heard anything before. And the revelation of the Mount Sinai on the first day of the Tishrei, the 7th month of the ecclesiastical first month of the Yuthean civil year, corresponding roughly with the autumnal equinox. The Yutheans celebrated Rosh Hashanah, the feast of the new year and the month of the new moon, and blew the ram's horn, shofar, to commemorate the revealing of the Torah. Well, there's the bull that they love so much. To call remembrance to rebreath of a star and to anticipate the happy day when such a blast would summon all the Uthenians of the world to homage their Elahe in Yaru Shalom. But of course, that was destroyed in 70 AD. And what we have is a pseudo. It was pseudo back then. It's pseudo today more so than ever. From the eve of the Rosh Hashanah to the 10th day of the Tishri were penitential days. On all but the 9th of the day of the pious Uthenians fasted and prayed. On the 10th, Yom Kippurim, the Day of Atonement, from sunset to sunset they were not to eat or drink or wear shoes or labor or bathe or indulge in love all day long. They attended service in the temple, well, they call it synagogue, putting out the eye of the sun, confessed and mourned their blindness, there you go, and those of the people, even from the homage of the golden calf. It was a bull. Great deception. On the 15th day of Tishri came Sukkoth, the Feast of the Tabernacles. For 7 days the Uthenians were supposed to live in booths, commemorate the tents in which it was said their ancestors slept during the 40 years sojourn in the wilderness. In the dispersion, a literal fulfillment of this old vintage or harvest festival offered difficulties, and the rabbis, Hammurabi, showed their good will by redefining sukkah to mean almost anything that could symbolize a habitation. On the 25th of the month, the 9th month, Kislev, December, and for 7 days thereafter, the festival of Hanukkah, well, sounds like Saturnalia to me, where they really party, or dedication. Recall the purification of the temple of the Maccabees, 165 BC, after its defilement by Antiochus Epiphanes on the 14th of Adar, that's March, and the Uthenians celebrated Purim, lots, and the deliverance of their people from the wiles of the Persian ministers Haman by Esther and Mordecai. Well, they never were there. They have no descendants that were there. They are Khazars and great pretenders. Gifts and good wishes were exchanged in a joyful and vinous feast on that day. And Rabbah, a man should drink until he could no longer distinguish between cursed be Haman or cursed be Mordecai. Whoa! Interesting statement. In other words, just get, there's a term, shit, faced, right? That's what he's saying here. That's interesting for a disciplined people, isn't it? Unless you're following the Babylonian Talmud, I guess. We must not think of those Talmudic Uthenians or Jews as pessimists, sick with the pangs of despised talents. No, I despise their talents very much. Thank you. Tossed about by the storms of doctrine. Yes, they are, aren't they? Because they're following false traditions while they're pretending the true tradition, and lost in longing for the ravished fatherland. Their ravished fatherland, they have no fatherland. They have the motherland that they want to dominate the world as their Luciferian dominion. Amid dispersion and oppression, atonement, well, they deserve oppression when you've been persecuting the rest of the world. Atonement and poverty, they kept their heads erect, relished the tang and strife of life, the brief beauty of their burdened women, and the abiding splendor of earth and sky. Every day, said Rabbi Meir, a man should utter 100 benedictions. I'm sure you do. And another said for us, all of us, to walk even 4 ells without bowing the head is an offense to heaven. Where is heaven? That's one of your code words. The sun, you hate the light. For it is not written, the whole earth is full of his glory? What is the glory? That's one of your code words for light and enlightenment. And when we pick it back up, we'll be on part 3, ethics of the Talmud. You mean they really have ethics? Wow, I can't wait to see what that's all about, ladies and gentlemen. And you just got the Forbidden History Live, what they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here. And everybody's still with me. I can't get over it. I know I get a little bit cynical in my presentation here because it's hard not to when you're dealing with occultists who actually hate all of our guts, who have taken down the Twin Towers and murdered thousands of people, the Khazarian Jews who made sure that all the Sephardic Jews that were left in Germany were killed in the concentration camps while they took over banking, and then created a false Israel. The grand deception is so great, ladies and gentlemen. It is such a grand deception that we, like I say, nobody can figure this out. I know it's a miracle that I had a passion for all these books, but of course I remember being conscious in my mother's womb, sucking my thumb, seeing pink light, and wondering what in the world am I doing here? And then I come out and I fall victim to a government sting operation in 1998. And I remember back the first 5 years where I lived, and the first place I lived was called 98 Right Place. The father telling me, everything's okay, my son, and you're gonna be on a roller coaster ride, but you're going to, be able to pierce the veil and to get past the priesthood's delusion of Hebrew and also the Greek. And get back into the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, to the original thought, to what they didn't want any of us to know, but certainly it doesn't matter how many lies. It takes 1,000,000 lies to cover the first lie, okay? First lie is who we really are, our true nature and where we come from. But then the lies slip through the cracks. They can't. They do their best to hide the trail, but they can't do it because Yeshua is a revealer. He's a revealer, okay? I'm not smart enough to figure this out. He's a revealer. He reveals. That's what he does. That's his nature. Let there be light, okay? And he reveals. And what a miracle. And he reveals to even somebody like me who's not worthy of it because it's so bad, because there's nobody going back home. Because nobody has eyes to see, because the deception has been so great. What are we going to do with it, ladies and gentlemen? Will we make lemonade out of lemons? Will we turn what is bitter into what is sweet? Will we put on the robe of light, the pure white robe, and not spot it with the deceptions of this world? We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I certainly sincerely care about all of you out there. A year ago, I didn't know any of you, and I have, and my other friends that I had from my radio network, none of them talk to me anymore because they don't get it. I didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle the way I do right now, the way it all came together over these last 6 years in particular. A year after I lost my apartment in Georgia and I was homeless in 2 different locations, just reading books 12 hours a day, and then last 5 years here when during my persecution, many of the other pieces of the puzzle were coming together. The Father reveals, and I'm so grateful. He's doing a great work. He did it with a guy called Moses. And and so he takes somebody every now and then, just somebody, and he uses them because it comes through one source. It comes through one source, and then it goes out to everybody else. And so it's sort of like the picture of the V, right? The V comes to a point, and then out from the point it projects out again. And so that's what is happening. I didn't ask for this. I didn't plan on it. I didn't ask to be here. I didn't want, but I wanted to know the truth. I wanted to know the truth, and I wanted, to be set free from, my family. Number one, I couldn't wait to leave New Jersey, but then I had to unravel the great mystery of our life, and Yeshua did that. I asked, I bought books, I read, I studied, I got on my knees, I fasted up to 12, 14 days at a time. When I did it when I was young, and and it unfolded. I climbed a mountain one day. Look out, you want to get it, get the full download. Go climb a mountain, okay, the tallest peak in the contiguous United States, and get filled with oxygen deprivation and a big headache, and think you can't even finish making your way up to the top. And something will happen. You got to step out. You got to go where nobody's willing to go. You got to be willing to stand alone. You got to see and read it for yourself. You got to get away from all the confusion and the mass, because the mass is always wrong. The crowd is always going in the wrong direction. You see them go that way, you go the other way, and they're coming to kill us all. They're coming to kill our family. That's what motivated me once I was in a truck driving 18-wheeler and making deliveries around Houston. And then I listened to talk radio for a year, and then I figured something out. I figured out, wait a minute, these people are psychopaths. They're running our world. They're coming to kill us. They're taking our world down. I could see it after I studied the Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations, the secret societies, the politicians, all the game, the racket, the shill, the front, this garbage that they. But I knew symbolism. I've been studying the ancient past, so I could read their code. I could see right through them. Unless you study the ancient past and the échevelures, the words and the symbols and the meanings and the and know the byline and the storyline and the history and all this stuff, you gotta. It's wow. So I saw right through them. I could see and read it for myself right out the gate. I had 20 years of study behind me already. And then I'm in my modern time, and they're speaking in an ancient code because they come from an ancient tradition and pattern. That's how they talk to each other, through the movies, through the television, through all medium, the code. You have to see and read it for yourself. Signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor law. That's all their BS. Their words and their law. There is no law. And their words are all corrupted. They put you under the spell because they control the spelling of a word. That Skype still isn't ringing. I don't get it. I think my Skype must be broken. I don't know what's going on. Here we have one of the most profound presentations on the planet, getting bits of the information that you're not going to get anywhere else, and I can't even get a Skype call, And I mean, I have to make an arrangement and pay somebody just to call in to create an illusion. Create an illusion. I can't get over it. And Shelley's Skype is broken too, right? You can call in on Forbidden History Live and say hi to our Yogeneer, and anyway, it'll happen. I know we've got to have 1,000 listeners to get more than just Ninja to call in. We need another 1,000 listeners, and so we'll work on that. Okay, do tell your friends about the broadcast. I'm all talked out, but I hope if I can get my voice back, we'll be back on tomorrow, anywhere from 11 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern time. Okay, that's Eastern time in America. That's also Americu for the feathered serpent, also known as Quetzalcoatl, the Toltec god, and Americu. Sure you knew all that. The grand design of Francis Bacon, the 500-year cycle of the phoenix, right? Going back to Mozart burned up in the ashes, and now comes another serpent. Now it's China. You knew all that, of course, right? Right. China being Cana, right? Cana, because it was Formosa. We betrayed the United States of America, betrayed the nationalist Chinese, who were decent people and loved their ancient culture, and they were the Formosan culture, and then they had to flee to Taiwan when America and the CIA created the communist version of China, and what was that, Mao or whoever, I can't remember who these gray-suited people are, and then they took over Taiwan or Tibet. They invaded Tibet. All those priests destroyed 5,000 temples, tortured those Tibetan priests, those innocent people. The most outrageous tortures, imprisoning them for 20 years. What did they do? I mean, come on. They just wanted to meditate and be left alone and peaceful, right? Wouldn't even hurt an ant. In their tradition, couldn't even hurt an ant. And then they get tortured by the American-made China. That's why all of our products are made in China, right? You know what I'm saying? That's another story I could elaborate on, you know. But so it's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. You just got the forbidden history and what they didn't want you to know. Now we tell right here, and so don't forget tomorrow more broadcasting. Okay, Sunday we do 2 on Sunday, and then we're and throughout the week we don't unless Shelly or Ninja are posting the schedule. I don't know if we got the schedule posted, so I'm sure they'll let us know if that's the case. So all right, I'm talked out. I'm getting too old for this, but I'm happy to do it because there's nothing more important, I think, than this discussion that we're having, and spilling the beans, you know, for this presentation. That's the only thing I got left, you know, is to spill it all out and hope that you can pick up some of the pieces that took me a lifetime and thousands of dollars to you know, out of my back pocket to invest in, to learn, to grow, to collect several thousand books, and then know the truth and say, what in the world, what is going on? Who am I? Why am I, you know, and like, you know, Neo in the Matrix, and he had to vomit because you know, it made him sick, you know, the truth. Get me out of here. And the rest is forbidden history, ladies and gentlemen. So do tell your friends, do come on back. And thank you to Yochelleg for engineering, and Ninja for calling in, and all of you out there who make this broadcast possible just by being here, okay? If you weren't here, guess what? I wouldn't be here. And if I weren't here, then I guess you wouldn't be there either, right? So do tell your friends, okay? Let's have a revolution in thinking. Let's build this broadcast so that as many people as possible can hear a few things that they've never heard before that can help shape their direction, you know, to be sure not to get caught up in the illusions and waste their time when there is so little time left, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Desert Owl, signing off. Shelly, back to you.